What's up, guys? Mason the Brock Henderson here, and we have reached the new season. Super excited. Preseason is upon us. Game was just played in Las Vegas last night. I am going to be going to the Orlando game in person, so I'm excited about that. I'll probably be doing that review quite a bit later. This one is coming actually the day after because I just didn't have time to review the game from yesterday. But in all honesty, it's going to be hard to really talk about this in great detail. And a lot of that is, most of the time preseason, it's hard to really review what's happening because there is a lot of change going on. There are a lot of players that may or may not be around in a few weeks. So it's hard to really get a good feel for where the team is and how the coach is doing and all of that stuff in preseason, and especially in the first preseason game. And I will say in that there is some disappointment, especially for some of the fans that went to see that game. It's one of the few times you get to see Chelsea live and in person, especially with how ridiculous travel is, to the point where now even players, very popular players that I would like to see, I'm not going to be able to see now because for some reason they think, oh, we still got to be super worried about this virus that we know all about. I'm not going to get too political, but my God, how stupid is it that I got to watch probably Ross Barkley and I don't get to watch N'Golo Kante in person because people are stupid. So I'm not looking forward to that. But there is a feeling, though, of you look at this game and you look at the players that are out there, and there are a lot of players missing that I feel like would have been something to get excited about. And I look at the players that are out there and I'm thinking, not a lot of these players I'm really excited for. Because not many of them are new. Some of them I don't want at the club anymore. So it's really hard to sit here and say that I got super excited for this first preseason match whenever I saw what our options were and whenever I saw what team was being put out in the first and second half. All I'm thinking is, I wish I could see more. I wish I could see more youth. I wish I could see more new players coming in, players returning from loan. I wish I could see more of that. Instead, I'm stuck watching Sarr and Barkley again. And that's not what I want for my preseason. I don't want to see Sarr and Barkley in preseason because it's a time to get excited about the new season. It's a time to get pumped as to why we're going to be fighting for the title. And if Sarr is still around, we're not going to be fighting for the title. I can tell you that right now. Because if he is an option, even off the bench, we're lacking a lot. Because he's League One level. If Barkley is even close to the bench, we are lacking a lot in the midfield. And granted, I know part of that is, again, Kante and Loftus-Cheek were not allowed to come because of stupid vaccination rules. And that's on the people in charge that are being idiots and still trying to take control of all of our lives. And that's an entirely different issue. But it's just very frustrating for me that going into this game, we had a lot of youth. I know Broja was out apparently with injury picked up in training. They're looking at it. Hopefully it's not too bad. I know it's his ankle. But that's one that I'm like, okay, so he's not there because of that. Where's Colwell? Where's Vale? Sterling has been around at least a little bit, so chance to see how he could do in his first match with us. Koulibaly, I get, he's just arrived, so I understand why he's not in there. But there's this feeling that we brought these youth players to get a chance, and not really many of them got a chance. The only thing that got me somewhat excited was Gallagher, because it was the first chance to see him in a Chelsea jersey, and he's one, Broja has been one that's been talked about a bit, but Gallagher's the one that I think a lot of fans are banking their hopes that he's going to be as good as he was for Palace last season. And that was one I was excited to see. But I look at everybody else, the first half lineup, you've got Kepa in goal. Cool. Are we not selling him yet? Again, I talked about it last season. We don't need him. The one reason we were keeping him around, well, he's a penalty kick master, and then he lets 11 in to lose us the Carabao Cup final. So clearly he's not the penalty kick master that everybody claims he is, because if you're truly that good at reading penalties and knowing where everybody's going to go, you would not get beat 11 times in a row. You would save at least one. And especially when Van Dijk embarrassed him by putting it on the side that he was already a good 2 feet over. There's no reason to keep him anymore. He's not a good keeper. The only thing that he has outside of the penalty kick thing, which is no longer a factor, is he's good with his feet. which even then he's made some poor passes in the past too. So even that's not flawless. So there's no reason to keep him. And yet here he is starting the first half of the first match in preseason. Are we hoping to drive his price up so we can sell him? Or is this a sign that, nope, he's still our second option after Mendy? Because if he is, he's not going to be pushing him for first team, I can tell you that. In the back line, you got Silva in the middle, Chalobah, and Sarr. Great, I get to watch Sarr in the first half of the first preseason match. Love it. Silva, Chalobah, love seeing them. You know, they're two solid defenders. Silva, in my opinion, solidifying his place in Chelsea history with how good he's been over the past 2 years. Chalobah looking like he's going to be one of our best academy products. You know, not obviously Mount and James have shown their quality too, but I mean, really, the way he stepped into this team so quickly is just amazing to me. So I'm excited to see more of him. Sarr, I don't want to see him. He had so many bad matches last season, so many poor moments last season, so many moments where he gifted the other team a goal, so many moments where he was the one caught not defending, not, you know, doing the counter or pressure balance. He's not helping out his teammates. His passing is terrible, and it doesn't look like it got any better based on what I saw this game. So why is he still here? Why is all of the rumor I'm hearing, oh, Colwill might be leaving, but nothing about Sarr? Nothing about a loan for him, nothing about him being sold, just nothing. Oh, well, he's young, he's going to get better. Is he? Because it's one thing to just have a little bit of that, I guess, young inexperience, or maybe to be a little bit smaller and you got to work and bulk yourself up a bit as a defender. He doesn't have soccer knowledge. Like, he doesn't understand the game from what I've seen from him. So unless somebody's tutoring him, helping him along, mentoring him, if that's happening, I'm not seeing it, but unless that's specifically happening for him, I don't have any hope that he's going to be good enough to play for a team like Chelsea. So why is he still here? Well, because we don't know exactly what we're doing yet. We got Koulibaly, but we don't know about Kunda. Looked like we missed out on De Ligt, so I don't know. It's just frustrating. Then you got Chilwell on the left, which is perfectly fine, and then you got Kennedy on the right. And don't get me wrong, he did okay in the last match of the season, and he was fine at times, but he's not Chelsea level. You know, and it's funny because I think about another Brazilian that's kind of on the same level as him that just went to another Champions League side in the Premier League, Richarlison. Honestly, I kind of have the same opinion of Richarlison. He's good. He has his moments. Should he be playing for a Champions League side? No. And that's where I am with Kennedy. He's not a factor for us. He's just that player that if you have two matches back-to-back and one of the matches is against a team like we were playing, I think it was Watford, was the last game of the season. If you're playing a team like Watford and it's not going to be that difficult of a game, you're at home, yeah, Kennedy will do fine. He'll do some clever stuff. He's got some quick feet. He's not going to help you in matches against City, against Liverpool, none of the top teams. He's not going to help us. So why is he still here? Why is he getting time? And we just loaned out Maatsen as well to Burnley. So we're not keeping our youth here, but we're keeping Kennedy. Make it make sense to me. Chilwell, just as far as how he played, he looks like he's still recovering a bit. It looks like he's still kind of getting back into the rhythm of it after what was a very bad injury for him last season. So he wasn't great. He just definitely had some moments where he got a little outpaced. He was a little off the pace. But I hope that it was just, you know, again, preseason. He's getting himself together. He's working to get back into the shape he was last season before the injury. Because, yeah, we need him. We need him to be at his best. Because we don't really have anything past him, especially now that we loaned Maatsen. In the midfield, we started off with Barkley and Gallagher. Now, Gallagher, again, like I said, I was excited to see him. He was definitely one of the big ones as far as returning loan players. He was one of the ones that people were just begging to see. Because of all of our loanees, he was the one that stood out, for sure. Because he had a great season at Palace. Broja was okay at Southampton, but Gallagher was... I mean, he was, I think, nominated for Team of the Year for the Premier League, which I thought was a little too high praise, but he was good. He was really good for Palace, and that energy, the work rate he brings, is going to really help us in the midfield this season. So excited to see him, and yeah, he had a good, solid game. Maybe a little too overzealous at times, especially for the position he was playing. He got caught stepping out of position a lot, but it was really good to see a player that worked as hard as he did, because that's honestly something that I feel like we have, but it's not always effective. We have players like Mount who can press high. We have players like Werner who can press high. We have the players that press really well, but the problem is it's only like one or two at a time. Gallagher's one, he'll be pressing alongside them. He'll be giving us that extra man that's going to go work to win the ball back. And on the ball, he's got some clever tricks up his sleeve as well. So definitely good first performance in preseason for him. Excited to see more. Very good chance he's going to be sticking around, especially after that performance. But then you get to Barkley, and again, why do we still see him? Why is he still here? We don't need him. He's not effective. He'll have those moments where if you get him the ball, he'll probably be standing and waiting for it. But if you give it to him, yeah, he might do one nice thing. He might put in a good cross, or he might have a good shot. But you play him for 90 minutes, you're not going to get much over those 90 minutes. He's a good, you bring him off the bench and maybe he'll do something clever. Maybe he'll get that game-time goal. But we need more than just, oh, well, he's good off the bench. We need more than that. We're going to be in a lot of competitions again this season. One less than last year, but still a lot of competitions. So we got to be ready. We're going to need players that are not just off the bench players. We're going to need players that can start games and then next game play off the bench and then next game start. Barkley's not that. He is good for one thing only, and that is, again, coming off the bench and doing something clever. And most of the time it's only one or two things, but that one or two thing might lead to a goal. So it's not what we need. He needs to go to a mid-table side where he can be the man that they just give him the ball. He's the main focal point of the attack. He doesn't have to do anything else for the team. He just needs to get the ball up top, and he can do something fancy. And there you go. So yeah, another one that I'm sitting here thinking, I'd love to see other players. I'd love to see, is Gilmore? I don't know if Gilmore's with the team right now. Obviously, Conte and Loftus-Cheek weren't allowed to come, but I'd much rather see both of them in there because they're much better options. But yeah, playing Barkley just kind of solidifies. We don't have, didn't have Kovacic available, didn't have Conte or Loftus-Cheek. Barkley. That's one of our options, unfortunately. And then up top, perfectly fine for the front three. You got Havertz in the middle, which is kind of what we expected to see. You had Ziyech on one side. Hudson-Odoi, though, on the other side. Why? He had his chance. He had his chance to prove his worth, to prove why he should stay here, and he didn't. All the chances that Tuchel gave him, all the chances off the bench, all the chances when he started, he had his chances to shine, to show everybody why he deserves to play for Chelsea. And he did not. He didn't do any of what we needed him to do. And based on this performance, he's not really learned anything. He's still the exact same player. He'll get on the ball, he'll make some runs, he won't do anything effective with it, and that's kind of it. So I don't really know why he's still here either. Again, I mean, especially with Sterling coming in, he's dropped down so far in the pecking order. There's no way he's going to see any time this season. So whether he goes out on loan or whether we sell him, I mean, I don't see a future for him at Chelsea, which is unfortunate because we could have made a good profit on him when Bayern was so interested in him a few years ago when Sarri was here. But of course, everybody's like, no, we got to stop selling off these youth players that just go and are fantastic in other leagues. And now here we are. We held on to him. We're like, yeah, we kept hold of Hudson-Odoi, and now he's not showing us anything of what we expected him to be. So it's very funny how you look at players like De Bruyne or Salah, these players that leave. Lukaku, we all thought, but they leave. And everybody's like, no, we should have kept him. And then they go and they do some fantastic things for their clubs. And like, see, this is why we should keep these players. And then you have players like Hudson-Odoi that, yeah, we kept a hold of him. Why did we keep a hold of him? So, but yeah, based on what I saw, though, I don't see a chance for him playing this season. If we keep Pulisic and Ziyech as well, For me, it goes the front three. As far as the flanking two, you've got Mount, you've got Gallagher, you've got Ziyech, you've got Pulisic, you've got Sterling. You've got so many players that can play up there. Werner can play up there. There's no chance Hudson-Odoi is going to be playing over any of those players. He shouldn't be, at least. So I think this was his chance to show Tuchel what he could do, and I don't think he took advantage of it at all. Havertz and Ziyech, as far as their performances, they were perfectly fine. Nothing too special, but nothing too awful either. I did think Havertz should have... He had a few chances that he should have put away, but overall, I mean, his movement is fine. He's doing well. I still don't think he's a 9, but I think he's doing okay in that position compared to where he was a couple years ago playing as a false 9. I really feel like he's come leaps and bounds, and he is effective there. He is doing a lot better. He's not our best option, in my opinion. I still think Werner is better in the middle, but, it is what it is. And then we get to the second half, and this is where I feel like you've got some players that are really playing for getting their value up. Because, I mean, you look at a lot of these players. So Bettinelli in goal, I mean, he's your third choice, especially, if we are planning on Kepa staying and being our second choice, Bettinelli is just the third choice that he's here just in case you need him. Which, I mean, I don't really get because I feel like you've got some youth keepers that are doing pretty well from what I've seen or what I've heard as far as going out on loan to League One championship sides. I hear they do okay. They look solid. They seem okay. So I don't know why we don't have a youth keeper as kind of our third option just in case. Just so we can keep somebody at the club and kind of grow them and try to see if we can maybe get our own homegrown keeper to come up through the system and be fantastic instead of constantly, okay, Mendy is now too old, now we got to go find another world-class keeper. But, it's fine. I get it. Most clubs have 3 keepers on hand just in case, and none of them, most of the time, are youth players. Into the back 3, you've got Azpilicueta, who, lot of rumors that he's leaving. You got Emerson, a lot of rumors he's leaving or going out on loan. Ampadu, I like to see. I think he's a player that can be effective for us. I think he's a good option. I don't think he's the answer for our back 3 because I do think we do need to get at least one more. Unless Colwill is the answer and we're just not seeing it because he's not playing for whatever reason. But I do think we need a third option in the back that can be as good as like Silva, Koulibaly, and Chalobah. Probably Koulibaly, we'll see. I don't know exactly how he's going to do, but I assume they've done enough research to know whether or not he's going to make it at Premier League level. But we do need some more options back there. And I think Ampadu is one. He can provide the cover if we get like one more solid center back. I know there's a lot of rumors about Koundé. Good option, probably. We'll see what happens. But if we don't get him, and then we have to look at our other options, I do think Ampadu is one that maybe keep him around. See what he can do. I think he's solid. I think he fits into the center very well too because he can distribute, and I think that's one of his better qualities. Defensively, admittedly, we didn't see a whole lot from him. So we'll see how he progresses, especially if he does get a chance to play in the Premier League. How is he going to do on the defense? How is he going to do tracking runs? Because the few times that I've seen him, he looks okay, but he doesn't look quite the level that we should be expecting, at a club like Chelsea. He looks a little bit more like a mid-table type of defender, and that's unfortunately not what we need. So, like I said, I'd love to see him stick around. I'd love to see if he could grow, maybe learn a bit under Silva, try to figure out how to get him to read the game as good as Silva does, because with his distribution, having him in the center of a back 3 would be fantastic because he could get the ball deep and try to make things happen while also reading the play and making sure nothing dangerous is happening. So yeah, there's one that, unlike Gallagher, I wasn't super excited to see, but there is some hope for his future and there is some hope for what he can give us. The wing backs, you got Alonso, who's probably leaving, and then James, who of course is going to be staying, even though all the rumors are saying, no, he's leaving Chelsea. Yes, our homegrown talents like Mount and James that love this club, they definitely want to leave, 100% for sure. And yeah, that obviously the own goal from James was an issue. It is one of those situations where he probably doesn't play with Bettinelli very often, so maybe he doesn't realize Bettinelli comes over here. Maybe a little too hard of a back pass. It's I don't know. It's preseason, so I'm not too worried about that being an issue. I do hope he steps up this season because again, I do think there were a lot of moments last season where he was doing okay, but I feel like he wasn't giving 100%. He's kind of jogging a little bit. He turns on the jets occasionally to get up, but he's not really busting it all game. He's not giving it all the time. You look at a player like Mount. He's constantly going and going and going. James, he'll go and then he'll kind of jog a little bit. He'll sit off the play. He'll get the ball and he'll take a few touches and then just drop it back. I want to see him with a lot more energy because I feel like he can do it. I think he's got the ability, the physical ability to do it. So this could be a really make or break season for him, whether he's going to be a good solid wingback or whether he's going to be one of the best. And I think a lot of that hinges, right? It's really late, so I apologize. My words are not coming to me right now. But I think a lot of it does matter this season as far as what type of player he's going to be. In the midfield, you had Jorginho and Mount, and both of them are... Mount's going to stay. He's going to help us. Jorginho's probably going to stay. He's going to hurt us. They're both players that I expect to see here this season, and one I'm excited to see. The other one I wish I could see what everybody else sees, but I do not. And both of them had... Well, Jorginho actually played okay. I mean, granted, it was Club America, so it wasn't like it was some fantastic team. He always has those games, though, where it's like he looks really good, and everybody's just like singing his praises, but then the next 3 games, he'll give the ball away, he'll assist the other team, and I'm just like, does everybody just not see the other 3 games that follow? They just see that one game, and they're like, see, this is why Jorginho's so good. And then they just close their eyes for the next couple weeks. But yeah, I mean, overall, it was fine from both of them in the midfield. And then the front 3, a little bit of a strange, I guess, combination. Because you've got Pulisic and Werner, and you've got Batshuayi in the middle. Batshuayi is one that I'm kind of thinking it's time to move on. We've kept him around for a while. He's obviously had his moments where he's looked good, and of course, we'll all remember the title-winning goal when Conte was our manager, but he's never really looked like a true quality striker. He just doesn't have the complete package. He has some pace, and he has sometimes a decent touch. But outside of that, I mean, his finishing isn't good. I mean, he wastes so many chances in the game. And the times when his touch isn't good, it's kind of embarrassing to watch. So, yeah, he's one I don't really expect to see around this year. Whether we loan him again or whether we sell him, I'm thinking it's probably going to be we're selling him, more than likely. Because if we don't sell him, he's just going to run down his contract and he's going to leave for free. And I think especially after what happened this last summer, we're going to be, or at least I hope, with Todd Bowley and all these people coming in, I hope the mindset is, if we know we don't want him, let's sell him. Because we don't need to be losing money on these players that we could at least make a little bit of profit on. So we'll see what happens there, but I definitely don't expect him to be a Chelsea player this season. Werner is a player that I feel like deserves to stay just from his hard work alone. I think a lot of unfair criticism directed toward him. Yes, some of it was warranted. I do think, though, a lot of it was too harsh. I think a lot of it was just people getting frustrated because we're not winning as much or we draw, and he did miss some chances. But I just feel like you look at how much work he put in last season, you look at how hard he fought for the team, and you look at the games where he didn't score, and he may have missed some chances, but his runs, his hard work, his pressure off or on to the other team, that all of that just created chances for the team, and it made us look better as a team. And I can't think of any reason why we shouldn't keep him. He's just a player that he's dangerous. He can be very dangerous. He's not a finisher, but he is a dangerous player to have. So I really, really hope that Tuchel, Bowley, whoever is, I guess, making these final decisions, because it's kind of hard to tell. Like, Bowley says he's letting Tuchel make these decisions, but it's always kind of one of those, how much of that is true? Because a lot of stuff just gets said in the media, a lot of speculation. But I hope whoever's in charge sees the value that Werner brings to our team and decides to keep him, because I personally would love to have him around for quite a few more seasons because I think he provides so much for us that goes unrecognized by kind of the main fan base. And then you got Pulisic. He's one. His future is really up in the air right now. He has his moments. It's really hard because it's not like he's not a good player. It's not like he hasn't shown his quality in the past. But recently, he's not shown his quality as much. He's not looked as solid. He's had a lot of games where he's wasted chances more than even Werner did. I don't know. It's really hard to say that he's going to be sticking around. There seems to be a lot of, he didn't play a whole lot last season, and obviously there seemed to be some frustration there, whether it was just his dad that was making the comments or whether he also voiced his frustration as well. I don't know. And that's kind of where, for him, I don't know what to expect from his future, whether he is going to stay, whether he is going to leave either on loan or being sold. I do think with Sterling coming in, I do think it's probably going to end up being a situation where Pulisic probably will leave in that situation. Because, if I'm Tuchel and I'm looking at my options for the front three, if we're sticking with the back five, or three and then the wing backs, if we're sticking with this and it's kind of a 5-2-3, Havertz, Broja, Werner, we got three good options there in the middle. I look at my two options behind the striker, and I'm looking at Mount. I'm looking at Sterling. Then I'm probably looking at maybe Gallagher, maybe Ziyech. Pulisic's probably not one of my top options. And that's just, it's unfortunate because I wish he could be the player that we were expecting we were going to get. From an American's point of view, I'd love to see him progress and be a better player than what he seems to be right now, because for our national team, we need a player like that. But yeah, I don't see him really giving us what we need from a player like him right now. So he's going to have a lot of fighting to do to stay at this club. It's really going to determine, whether or not he wants to stay and fight first place or whether he wants to move on so he can get more playing time somewhere else. That's kind of, I think, is what's going to determine his future, mainly for this season, because hey, if he wants to stick around and fight, then great. I love that kind of attitude out of players. I don't like the players like certain strikers that clearly wanted to be playing somewhere else, as he's made very apparent with some of his comments just a few weeks after being loaned from Chelsea. There's clearly players who just don't want to fight for the position. They don't want to try to work their way in there. They just want to be guaranteed a starting spot, and that's it. A lot of the rumors about Colwill make it seem like he doesn't want to fight for his spot. I don't know if these are true or not, but a lot of the rumors coming out of his situation is that we're bringing in Koulibaly, we're looking to bring in Koundé. Oh, that means I'm just not going to be used. I'm going to leave then. If that's actually what's happening, then yeah, we don't need a player like that. We don't need a player who would rather leave to go to another club to get playing time rather than try to stick it out and fight for a spot here. Now, if the coach is the one making these decisions and he's the one that's like, no, I'm not going to give you a chance to fight for your spot, that's a different situation. But all of the reports I'm hearing are that Tuchel is going to give everybody a chance to get a spot. And I kind of hope that's why we're seeing some of the players like Sarr, like Barkley. We're seeing some of those players now because we're seeing, can they get it done? Hudson-Odoi, same thing. And I'm hoping from this first game, we kind of see, okay, they're still not quality. They're still not good enough, so get out. And that's just, it's all on Tuchel. It's, what does he see? Obviously, Sarr has not offended him enough to get rid of him, despite how many games he lost and dropped points for us last season in. Clearly, he's not done enough for Tuchel to determine that he doesn't need to be here. So in that concept, is Tuchel the right coach for us? And that's something that I've posited before and got attacked by the fan base because he won us the Champions League. And as we know, all managers that won us trophy and silverware, they've always gone on and done fantastic things the year after, right? Just go ahead and Mourinho, yeah, the guy that won us 2 titles and then went off the deep end and lost his mind. Yeah, that didn't happen. Conte went and won us the league and then next season didn't win us a thing. That didn't happen. Sarri wouldn't want us to Europa League, and people still praise him for that, despite the fact that we looked terrible in our performances. That didn't happen. I don't get it. I really don't understand the fan base. That just because somebody won us something, suddenly we should just support everything they do. Oh, they're shooting our club in the foot with all their terrible subs and all their terrible decisions. That doesn't matter. They still won us something, so support them. Stupid. So anyways, that's kind of all of my sort of jumbled thoughts. Like I said, preseason is so difficult to really talk about in a review because there's a lot of moving pieces. There's a lot of stuff that won't be carrying into the main season. It's hard to really judge as far as that performance is concerned because, again, you've got a lot of players that either won't be here or players that are being given a chance to prove why they deserve to be here. So there will be moments, and obviously the rustiness as well, because they're all getting back into it. They're all getting a feel of how each other are going to play. Wingbacks are figuring out where their keepers are going to be. So there's going to be mistakes. There's going to be problems. There's going to be a little bit of a rusty feeling to start off. So it's always very difficult, in my opinion, to really talk about preseason. But hopefully this was good enough for the people who did watch it. Hopefully feel like I got my thoughts out there about how I feel about everybody. Can't think of anybody that I missed. Again, I would like to see some youth players get a chance to see what they could do. You know, you've got Vale, you've got Colwill. I don't remember who else is there. Can't remember if Gilmore joined the club in this preseason tour or not. But I don't know. I would like to see some of these players, not Sarr, Barkley, or Hudson-Odoi. I would like to see some of them given a chance because I look at these players, I know what to expect from them. I know to expect that they're not going to be up to our quality. I don't know what to expect from the youth players, so why not give them a chance? So that's just how I feel about it. I'll try to make sure, try to watch the Charlotte game as well, and then, like I said, I'll be in Orlando for the game against Arsenal. I won't be actually getting back home for a little bit, and even then I don't know if I'm going to be able to do a review of the game, so but at least expect, if I don't talk about all the preseason games, I will at least do a pre-season starting review talking about the transfers. Definitely a video after the end of the transfer window, and just sort of talk about all of that stuff and all of the stuff that we've done. So yeah, all in all though, I am excited for this season. I do think there's a good chance that we could be a good challenge for the title. I do think, Liverpool, Man City, they have lost a little bit. Obviously, they brought in some players. They brought in some freshness that will make them solid still. They still will be the teams to beat as far as the title is concerned. But I feel like we've done a good job of bringing in players so far, and some of the players that were rumored to be bringing in as well as some of these younger players that are coming back from loan. It feels like we've got a good setup to really see a good challenge for the title this season. So hopefully that is the case. Hopefully this isn't all just a bunch of red herrings. All of a sudden season starts and we lose our first 5 games because everybody's lost. Tuchel is the idiot I thought he was, and suddenly our title challenge is gone. I'm hoping that's not the case. Fingers crossed that my worst fears will not come true. But that's about all I've got for this first preseason match. So let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. What were your thoughts on the game? Let me know what we can talk about and discuss. All that good stuff. Leave a like and subscribe for future Chelsea reviews. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.